humanity. The officer died from injuries sustained from a secondary explosion while in active service within the base in December 2023. Our correspondent reports that the governor also declared open a 3-day skill acquisition training for military veterans in the South-South geopolitical zone. Some stakeholders in Rivers State have continued to speak about the political crisis in Rivers State that has engulfed both the executive and legislative arms of government. The chairman of the Defense for Human Rights and Democracy, Clifford Solomon, says the impeachment of Governor Fubara still looms following the increasing face-off between the governor and the 27 lawmakers of the State House of Assembly. Mr. Solomon spoke to correspondent Yobi Oruwari.
Impeaching the governor of Rivers State still looms, and if care is not taken, these people may succeed. It's not a good thing for the government and governance of Rivers State. They are planning to remove the governor. They are playing opposition. During the 8 years of former governor Nyesom Wike, even when the civil society organizations came together to call for just to see budget of Rivers State till his tenure elapsed, where was Tony Okocha, and Martin Ameule was also the leader of that assembly.
On the spot, an SDP governorship candidate in the Second Republic, Don Cookie, advised all parties to allow the judiciary to play its role and interpret the Constitution.
There is a face-off. I think it's just a contrived face-off, really. And it's unfortunate. I don't know where this is leading us to. We can't be pretending as if the constitutional provisions do not exist. The judiciary should have been the one to interpret that portion of the Constitution that deals with defections by the legislator. The judiciary should be allowed to do their duty and interpret the Constitution so that everybody can go about their duty.
Recall that since the political crisis began, the Rivers State House of Assembly, led by Martin Amihule, has continued to face off with Governor Fubara following his alleged rejection of their correspondences, declining to assent to full bills passed by the House and showing no interest in representing the 2024 appropriation bill. Moving on, shops were closed on Monday in Omuike community, Isiokpo, in Ikwere local government area of River State, where the late Herbert Wiwe hails from. Now, this is as residents took to the street to mourn his death and that of his wife and son. Isiokpo residents wore black and marched through the street singing mourning songs. Speaking to our correspondent, one of the community leaders, John Oporum, asked the U.S. government to ensure that the bodies of the late Herbert Wiwe, his wife and son, are sent down to Nigeria.
Our demand is that the corpse must come down here in our soil. We must bury him here. We don't want to know what happened over there, but the U.S. government must know how to do it and get us a good result. We must know why and how our brother died, but the corpse should not be joked with. They must bring it down here to bury here in our soil. I think that's our demand. I'm standing on behalf of the youths. I'm Mekao.
Still on this, the federal government has joined the investigation of the helicopter crash that killed the co-founder of Access Bank, Herbert Wiwe, and 5 others in the U.S. on Friday. Speaking with newsmen, the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Bimbo Oladeji, said it has offered its full cooperation to the U.S. National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, in the investigation of the tragic crash. Still to come, PDP governors demand state police say Nigeria almost becoming Venezuela. restated their position on state policing as the solution to the country's worsening security situation. The opposition governors also decried the free fall of the naira and its attendant consequences and asked that the federal government's economic team find appropriate solutions to the challenge. The chairman of the forum, Governor Bala Mohammed of Bauchi State, briefed journalists after a meeting of the governors in Abuja. He criticized the high cost of living in the country and the value of the naira, saying Nigeria is almost on the road to Venezuela, a country facing extreme economic and security hardship. He said the meeting reviewed the state of the nation and noted the hardship being faced by Nigerians as a result of economic and security challenges facing the nation.
And we can see that we know the majority of Nigerians live in the states, and so we are doing so much across party lines on a bipartisan basis within the Nigerian Government Forum, within the National Economic Council, to make sure that we cushion the impact of some of these policies that have far-reaching consequences on our people. We reiterate our call with the state police with appropriate safeguards to avoid any abuse or overreach by any chair of government.
And now the chairman of Trade Union Congress TUC in Rivers State, Ikechukwu, says the labor union can do nothing to save Nigerians from the prevailing economic challenges. Speaking on Nigerian Full FM's Morning Crossfire, Mr. Onyefuru urged Nigerians to wake up and take back their country by taking decisive action.
We need to tell ourselves the truth. The plain truth is that we need a reorientation of heart for all Nigerians. How can a few politicians hold us to ransom and we all fold our hands and beat drums for them, sing music for them, praise them, churches, mosques, praise them, give them awards, and then you think that the country will be good? This country, Labour can do nothing until Nigerians wake up to the call to take back our country. Nothing can change.
Now, in the meantime, a former Rivers State Commissioner for Information, Emma Oka, has attributed the current economic challenges in the country to excessive borrowing by the last administration of former President Muhammadu Buhari. Dr. Oka, in an interview with correspondent Emekotoka, said the previous administration borrowed for luxury rather than investing in productive activities. He predicts a continued rise in prices due to the country's dependence on oil and gas.
Former President Muhammadu Buhari, right under his nose, was festering. The president was borrowing and borrowing and borrowing. There's nothing wrong with borrowing money, but you cannot borrow money to fund your lottery. Farmers can no longer do what they used to do. Farmers can no longer be engaged in very lucrative and elaborate farming activities. And then the consequence is rising cost of foodstuff. And then they are also importing because we can't produce enough. So when you are importing, it's foreign exchange you use. So if you can't tie all these things down, there is just no magic Tinubu will be expected to do. Anybody expecting that Tinubu will do anything miraculous should better have a rethink, because the worst days are coming.
Dr. Oka advised the current administration to reduce governance costs and redirect funds to sectors that will enhance foreign exchange. In other news, Rumubakane Community Council says its attention has been drawn to the purported announcement of the constitution of a caretaker committee to run the affairs of the Rumubakane clan. A statement by the chairman, Rumubakane Community Council, and Eze Odohia I of Rumueme Kingdom, Echesin Aleruchi Nsirim, said the purported announcement was the imagination of a father and son who he says do not have the mandate of the Rumubakane people. The statement said that prior to the death of Nyeweli Omunakwe Nyeche Nsirim, there were factions in the community that still exist to this day. He said no one was mandated to convene a consolidated meeting of the faction. The statement reiterated that Echesin Aleruchi Nsirim Iwe Bakani I and Eze Odohia Oha the first of Rumueme Kingdom is the chairman of Rumubakane Community Council and have not delegated anybody to convene community or clan meeting on his behalf. Now, the statement said the Rumubakane Community Unity Hall was built by the community council he leads, not former governor Nyesom Wike. Now, today is World Radio Day.
And now, we'll bring you news from around the world.
World Radio Day is an international day celebrated on the 13th of February each year. The day was decided by UNESCO on November 3rd, 2011 during its during its 36th meeting. On the international scene, former U.S. President Donald Trump has asked the Supreme Court to suspend a lower court ruling that he does not have the presidential immunity from prosecution. He said he had claimed in his election interference case he could not be tried for acts carried out as president. 3 lower court judges disagreed, ruling that he can be prosecuted like any other citizens. But Mr. Trump's lawyer said he should not be tried during an election campaign. Now that's a wrap on the news this morning. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. Council chairmen are reportedly heading to court as Governor Fubara approves promotion of local government workers and minimum wage. Herbert Wigwe's hometown Isiokpo has declared 8 days of mourning. PDP governors are demanding state police, saying Nigeria almost becoming Venezuela. Today is World Radio Day. And on the foreign scene, former U.S. President Donald Trump is seeking a Supreme Court pause in the 2020 election case against him. The news was edited by Chioma Ezenwafa. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Moyeli. Many thanks for listening.